being a great leader, I think, is absolutely the starting point, because so often we have principals that are looking for associates and you hear them always blaming the associates. There's no good associates. They're not motivated like how I was. They're not hungry. Why can't I just find someone, that wants to grow? And my advice to them always is, okay, well, first, have you self-reflected and looked at yourself? And a lot of the times they're actually projecting and manifesting and behaving the very traits that they're seeing in people that they don't like, which I always find the irony of it.
Hello, and welcome to Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast. This podcast is dedicated to chiropractors who are in the seasons of launching and building their practice. Join myself, Dr. Lona, and my co-host, Dr. Bobby, as we have conversations each week as it relates to building the practice of your dreams. And remember, you can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. We're here to lead you on the way.
What's up, team? Welcome back to the Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast with the amazing Dr. Lona Cook and myself, Dr. Bobby Lajasvik, where we come to you guys every week with straight from, I guess you call it the trenches, taking you through real practical and actionable things that apply in practice right now and answering the questions that we see you guys are always throwing at us, whether it's on mastermind calls, whether it's messaging us, DMing us, whether it's when we meet you at events. But whenever we try and put these episodes, Lona, together, we try and answer the most common questions that we hear from people, right? So, how do you goal set? Last week I spoke about our daily non-negotiables. And today we're speaking on something that I would say is probably at the top of the list in terms of like top 3 to top 5 questions that we get. And Lona, that's around associates, right? So our podcast today, guys, is going to be around how do you find world-class great associates? And you know what? Here's the flip side of it. If you are an associate and you're looking for a position, then I want you to take what we talk about today in these next 15, 20 minutes and flip it the other way around and ask yourself, how do I find world-class practices that I want to be an associate at? So, Lona, I'm going to flip this over to you. What are some starting thoughts with this? I know you've got multiple associates in different locations you have, and you guys have had multiple associates over the years. Do you want to give us a nice just starting point for your thoughts on associateships and how do we make this really fruitful? And then we're going to get into the real nuts and bolts of, well, how do I actually find them? Because that's the question I want to know.
Yes, there is. I mean, that is true that it's a question that gets asked a lot. Like, where are you finding the associates? And we're gonna try and answer that in a few minutes here. But also keep in mind that I think a lot of it is also creating world-class associates too. So yes, having a great pot to work from of like, who am I going to choose that is feeling like you're not backed into a corner with no options, of course, but also knowing you create A players and you create great associates by being a great leader and nurturing people to keep developing into their potential. So it's a multi-layered question.
Yeah. I think the last part of what you said there by being a great leader is absolutely instrumental. That is key. So that necessarily, though, brings about the question, well, what would you say makes a great leader?
Well, I think willingness to look at yourself in all the equations is a huge part of that. And then I also think a great leader realizes that they need their team and their team needs them. And part of what the leader is doing is being very clear that part of the best thing they can do for the team is lead the vision and have a vision that is big enough that the entire team is excited to work behind it and work alongside the leader in that positioning. So I think some of it is recognizing we're linking arms, we're walking together, and that my job is to help the entire team actually look ahead and see what's possible and step into their potential.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. And I think it's important to recognize that there's different roles inside of an organization. So as somebody who owns a practice that's looking for an associate, you first step have to identify, well, what is your role in the relationship? What do you bring to the relationship? And I think you nailed it in the head when you said being a great leader. And that is somebody who has clarity with vision, who is committed to the outcomes and the purpose, is somebody who's clear with their core values and lives by their core values, is someone who has integrity, which means they do what they say they're going to do. And I think that the real big thing here is really clarity of vision, because if you look at what all the great leaders have in common, they do have a vision that's compelling. So just look at, I might use this as a bit of an example, but when you're going to vote for somebody in an election, you really, if you take any notice, I know a lot of people just don't care. They're like, they're all the same. But what a lot of people fall in love with is the vision that leader is projecting for where they see the country or the state or whatever it is election that you're voting in, where they see it going. And so if you align with that person's vision and if you align with their core values, then you're more likely to, dedicate your vote to that person. being a great leader, I think, is absolutely the starting point, because so often we have principals that are looking for associates, and you hear them always blaming the associates. There's no good associates. They're not motivated like how I was. They're not hungry. Why can't I just find someone, that wants to grow? And my advice to them always is, okay, well, first, have you self-reflected and looked at yourself? And a lot of the times they're actually projecting and manifesting and behaving the very traits that they're seeing in people that they don't like, which I always find the irony of it.
Well, and that's energetically sound, right? Because everything is a mirror on some level. The more you get into the energetics of it. So that's part of being a good leader, is being willing to look at, wait, am I the chicken or the egg here? Like, what part of me needs to shift in order to actually attract a different result?
Yeah, exactly. So if part of the equation is being a great leader, and being a great leader is someone who has a compelling vision story, who's really clear with their core values, does what they say they're going to do, wants to grow and expand and nurture and lead. What would you say then makes a great associate? What would you say are traits that if this associate has these traits, it really sets themselves up for success, provided that they find the right position?
Well, the two words first is, I think, humble and hungry, right? Like, I would like to hire a humble and hungry associate, somebody who knows that they're going to come in and learn. Like, they want to learn, they want to soak it up, they want to be transformed, knowing that they're coming in to be fed on some level. And then they're also ready to receive it and do something with it. So, I definitely don't want to hire someone that thinks they know everything already. And that's the humble part. And then the hungry part is like, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to like do work. I'm ready to grow the vision alongside you. I want to develop myself. I want to develop this mission. I want to be somebody in this organization.
Yep, 100%. I always say internally in my team, and I say this to my associate, if you give them to me with these two things, I'll turn them into a superstar. And here's what they are. Number one is coachable, and number two is hungry, like what you said. All right. And coachable, really, I guess you could translate to humble, because someone who is coachable, someone who's humble, who wants to learn, who is an open book, who doesn't come in with preconceived ideas or ideologies and doesn't want to move and bend on those. Okay.
Right.
I think it's part of being humble and part of being coachable is this idea of understanding I don't know everything. There are levels to this game. I do want to master high levels of this game. And I understand that the people that I associate with will take me to their level. I think Einstein came up with that. Einstein was the one that said, you will end up being the average of the 5 closest people you spend the most time with. Okay. And I look at a modern day version of that, and the way that my brain views this is I go, okay, so if you hang with 5 drunks, you're probably going to be the 6th drunk. All right. Whereas if you hang with 5 millionaires or billionaires, you're probably going to be the 6th millionaire or billionaire. That's how life works, because we are who we are today as a result of a combination of two things: the people that we've met, okay, and the experiences that we've had. And that, quite frankly, makes up how you view the world and how you see it right now today. So as an associate going into a relationship, I always say, if somebody is coachable and if someone is hungry, which means wanting to learn, you will turn them into a superstar. Starting point of a successful relationship, absolutely. But the topic of today's podcast is, how do I find them? All right, so this topic today is one for principals. However, if you're an associate, I want you to just hear the reverse of this. How do I find great locations to associate in? So, Lona, what's been your experience of this? If you're advising me now, so I was someone working with you and I'm like, oh, Lona, I'm growing. It's awesome. The systems are all clicking beautifully, but I can't service everyone. I need to expand through associates. I can't find associates. I've been trying for the last 3 months, 6 months. What advice would you give to that person? How do you find great associates?
Okay. I'm going to give you my true answer here. And this might not be the answer that you expected me to say. Maybe it does. It is. The clearer I get about what the next move is for expansion for us. So in my history, like at first it was like I was a lone show, and then I had a CA, and then I had 2 CAs. And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to open another office, but I didn't have an associate yet. It was not the right sequencing of how to open a second office. Let me tell you that. But I quickly realized I needed an associate and I needed another doc in my new office. Right. But that became very clear. So sometimes learning what you want is also in the process of learning what you don't want or how you did it wrong, right? So when my clarity of like, I need someone yesterday, and I'm really clear that I'm looking for an associate, doesn't mean that I wouldn't put advertisements out there that I'm looking for an associate. I've definitely done that. But I'm also really aware of who starts to come to me, because I do feel like it's almost like the clearer your vision is, they sort of just arrive. And so I've had a lot of experiences where other people will send me, it could be a CA or a DC, and I look at the timing of like my clarity of like, it's a now thing. Let's start to like actually put an advertisement out there or what have you. And then also witnessing what actually gets pulled into my field. So for instance, before we started advertising this new associate that we're hiring right now, my current one of my associates said like, hey, I have a friend that's going to be looking for a position, and I know we've been talking about that we're going to be hiring again, like, would you be interested in? And so before I even put the advertisement out there, here's this person that's showing up, right? And I was like, okay, great, I want to pay attention to that, because that's, to me, it's like the universe is already giving me opportunities right there.
Yeah, and I've got a question for you. How much time passed between you working out, okay, this is what I need to do, this kind of person I need, and then that person actually appearing?
Like quick, really quick.
Are we talking days, weeks, months?
Days, usually. All right. Within a week or so.
I thought that'd be the case. And I want to bring this up because sometimes hearing what you said, people assume, oh, well, that's slow. That takes time, right? I'm going to put out there and manifest this person. But what I don't want you to mistaken, I don't want you mistaken clarity of vision with speed. I don't want you to think, oh, well, I'll get clear with this and the person will come to me, over time. The reality is the person will come to you when the time is right. So very often, if you're thinking, oh, well, I'm looking for 3 months and 4 months and 6 months and 9 months, the first thing you should do is stop and self-audit. So audit yourself and go, well, maybe I am not manifesting and showing the universe that I'm ready. Am I doing the action steps? Am I open to receiving? Have I gone to events and seen people? Or have I just left in someone's hand and said, oh, there's this recruiter they're looking after and they haven't really sent me just 2 candidates. It's like, are you really then ready? It's kind of like, if you had the age-old analogy, a bleeding neck, would you sit there and go, oh, well, we'll just kind of see if this thing settles down, let's see what happens? Or would you be like, no, stop the bleeding neck immediately? You would take action differently. So for me, I have an analogy in our business that I hate crawling. I love sprinting. I love moving fast. You guys probably learned that about me.
That's shocking.
Yeah, I know. Who would have thought, huh? Who would have thought? Crazy thought. But I love moving fast. However, but clarity is speed. So by stopping down and slowing down and creating clarity, you actually gain speed from that, and then people come your way if you know exactly what you're looking for. That's what I'm hearing you say, right?
Yes, so good. And Bobby, to your point, it's not like I'm hiding under a log, not enmeshed in Carol world, trying to figure out who's out there and what avenues I can start asking for. Who knows someone that would be looking, right?
Yeah, spot on.
I'm definitely planting seeds left and right about what our organization is doing.
100%. For example, let me give you an example of this, okay, now as a story. So a little while ago, I had one of my associates, Tuesday, all right, said, Bob, can I have a meeting with you Tuesday afternoon? Cool. All right, no worries. I'm super available to all my associates. Tuesday afternoon, have a meeting, and he says to me, look, there's been changing life circumstance. I think I'm going to be moving. I'm moving up north, like new town, changing life. We're buying a property, X, Y, Z. I'm like, all right, that's sad. It was a great relationship, awesome associate. We had a great time together. And I was like, all right, are you sure? Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. That was Tuesday afternoon, okay? By Wednesday, midday, I already had 4 candidates ready to rock and roll. Okay, now you might say, Bobby, what did you do? I'll come back to that. But by Wednesday afternoon, I had 4 candidates ready to rock and roll. Thursday morning, I meet back up with this associate. I'm like, hey, I know you've had a bit of time to let it digest. How you feeling with it all? Like, are you sure? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Are we talking like 100% sure? Are we talking like 80% sure? No, I'm like 99.9% sure. Like, I sense a bit of doubt, but it's like, I'm sure. All right, cool, no problems. 4 people ready to rock on. Let's work out the exit plan. So we're going to do a 6-week transition. There's a bit of holiday there, so I might actually extend to an 8-week transition, which ends up happening. Let's make sure that it's smooth for you from X, Y, Z. Does this work? Yep. Are you sure that works? Yep. Great. Here's what we'll do from our perspective. And just kept communication lines very clear, very honest, very open. And it was a beautiful transition. This person transitioned out of our office super successfully into a new role. We replaced this individual with 2 other associates, both transitioning in fantastically, beautifully. But the reality is that I was clear, Lona, like what you said, exactly. What's the vision of the business? Where are we going? What kind of people do we need? What kind of associates do we need? And so then the universe just straight away the next day provided 4 people. But if I was like, sat in my hands now for a little while, I'm literally sitting in my hands now if you're listening to this. And I'm like, let me think about this. So should I replace them or should I just absorb their database? This person was adjusting probably around like 250 people, 250 plus a week. Do I just sit in my hands? I'm not sure. Maybe we just absorb them with our existing associates. Do we replace this person with just one individual? Do we get to? That's not how you operate, right? It was like, cool, here's where we're going as a company. Here's the kind of people that we need. Here's how many of those people we need. And so let's go to the market and start looking for them.
So good. Yes.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear, and I'll share my now tips. All right. So I feel as though I'm ready. I'm clear, guys. I know what kind of person I want. I know when we need them by. I'm a leader. I want to manifest. All right. Give me now some direct action steps. So Lona, I'd love to hear from you. You're clear now. And this afternoon, you start the process of, all right, I'm going to look for an associate. what is the first practical thing that you do? And then I'll share my practical things that I did that I got the 4 people straight away the next day.
Yep. So if I'm really clear about which role I'm hiring for, like, am I hiring a caregiver doc, a doc that's going to be in the office most of the time, or am I hiring someone that's going out and finding new patients, putting on events? Based off of the role, then I'm going to have, well, I obviously have my channel on ChatGPT that knows my clinic pretty well. So I'll go in there and play with writing up the job description and more of the tone of our practice so that I can write it in how we would best put it out there for different channels.
Yes.
So if I'm putting it out on social, or if I'm putting it out on a LinkedIn, or do a paid for, ad, which I've never really had success with personally for DCs, but I know that some people do. But
Yep.
in the region of the country I'm in, that might have something to do with it as well. And then I really look at, like, gosh, all the relationships that I have that know our brand too, that are trusted chiropractors that also have wide webs of knowing other chiropractors who may be seasoned that want to move to Wisconsin, or may have a student that's about to graduate that may be coming back here. And so I just want to put those feelers out. And so that would be a very quick action step for me too, is to get the influencers who know a lot of chiropractors to know that we're looking as well.
Yeah, cool. I love it. So here is the first thing that I just want to add to that, to give you some structure around it and give everyone some framework around it. First thing is first, hire and looking for associates is like marketing for new patients. You should, in your business, have 2 funnels. You should have a new patient acquisition funnel, and you should have a talent acquisition funnel. It's the same thing. All right. So new patient acquisition funnel generates new patients, generates interest on the front end. You have a qualification process, a nurturing process, all the way through to, do they come to a day one, they convert into care, do you accept them? You guys are going to create a relationship here. Same thing when it comes to talent, team members in your office. You want to have funnel for talent, which means there is a way to get leads on the front end, people putting up their hand, you have conversations, then you nurture that, work out, are you aligned, core values, vision wise, do you go to the next step, talking about contracts, all right, start dates, onboarding process, long-term associateship. There's 2 funnels that every business should have. As you're growing and scaling, you're going to be adding people on, and you'll be adding them on at a pretty awesome rate. So you need to have talent acquisition funnel, right? What you just described, and by the way, your business at any one point is only ever experiencing a bottleneck based on the amount of new people that are coming in, or your ability to deliver the product, which is directly related to your systems and how big your team is. All right. So as a business owner, this is getting a little bit more complex for a build call, but as a business owner, when my team is working at below 80%, they're not making money. All right. We're like breaking even. When they're working at 80 to 90%, all right, of my team's capacity at any one time, we're making really great profits. 90+% or 100% long-term burns your team out. So your job is to foresee the growth of your business in the future, hire ahead of time, and then your role is design systems and process to make sure that you get your total team's capacity, right, at 80+%. But you always want to keep it at 80 to 90, 80 to 100, because long-term 100 will burn people out. So you should be hiring ahead of the curve. Right. And a lot of people, what they do it the reverse. They like wait to hire, or they're either exhausting themselves, or they're exhausting their team, or they're not getting through the next level. They're frustrated, but they can't quite hire yet. And so they do it in the wrong timing. But a conversation for another time. However, what you just said there, Lona, is exactly what I do. Let me give you some structure behind this, guys. So essentially, marketing only ever has 4 avenues. You've got one-to-one, warm reach out, one-to-one, cold reach out, one-to-many, warm reach out, one-to-many, cold reach out. All right. One-to-one, warm reach out is message every single chiropractor that you know and say, hey, Lona, hope been fantastic, loving life up north. What's been happening? Hey, just to let you know, we're looking for a new associate inside of our practice. Here's the position. Here's what it looks for. If there's anyone that you know, I'd love to hear from you. And you just sent dozens and dozens of the messages out to every single chiropractor, every single CA, every single associate that you know. That's an example of one-to-one warm reach out. All right. One-to-one cold reach out would be messaging even those that you don't know, right? Hey, Lona, never met you before, but I'm loving your podcast, loving everything you guys been talking about, totally aligned with it. Hey, I heard you talking about associates. We're actually in the process of looking for one now. Is there anyone in your network that you know that's looking for a position XYZ, right? Great. That's cold reach outs. Do a bunch of those. Social media has made it easier than ever before. One-to-one warm reach out is what you just did before. Post on your socials, post on your stories, post in your groups that you're involved in, like post in your socials to your audience. That's one-to-many warm people that know you. And then the final one is one-to-many cold reach out, which you also referenced there, and that's paid ads. So if you need to get to a volume of people where you could target chiropractors through paid ads. Now, yes, there is a way to do that properly, and that takes a little bit of time, a little bit of money to learn how to do it properly. But the reality is it does work, definitely. So what I did when I found that news on Tuesday is literally the next day all I needed to do is one-to-one warm reach out. I just reached out one-to-one to not even all the people that I knew, to a handful of people that I knew. From the handful of people that I knew, Great. We had, I think, 6 people respond back to me like yes on some level. I quickly pre-qualified down to 4. Those 4 I all had chats with. Of the 4 that I had chats with, 2 I was like, yep, great, fantastic. Literally, they had job offers by Thursday afternoon, and I found out Tuesday afternoon, and we're ready to rock and roll, and they've got everything set up Friday morning, because success loves speed.
Yeah, I love that.
So anyone that says to me, I've been looking, someone messaged me the other day, yeah, how are you going with your associate? I asked this person. Yeah, ads are, how long have they been out for? 5 months. 5 months, mate. You are crawling, and you're crawling on just your hands, right? Like, what have you done? Well, I've left in the hands of the recruiter, right? So that's how we find associates.
Yeah, that's great, Bobby. That was beautiful.
So final comments, Lona. I know we wanted to keep this one short and sweet and easy and give you guys some action steps to get your next associate. Do you want to add any final comments?
I think just double check your heart and your mind and see where you're holding yourself back, right? Because a lot of times it's like especially when we're adding maybe our first associate or a second associate, like there can be times where you're like, I want to, but there's something in me that's still like afraid or holding me back. And that's why you're not finding, because you're not allowing yourself to go all in.
Very, very smart advice. Exactly. Fear of the unknown so often because we get used to the comfort zone of what we know. Yep. Food for thought there, guys. All right. I love it. So I don't know who needed to hear this message this week, guys, but there you have it. So associate, please, next time I hear you say there's no good associates out there, you're going to hear it from me, but take the lessons from today's podcast, because at any one time, so right now, just quick summary on this. I think there's close to 100,000 chiropractors worldwide. Okay. They say at any one time, there's 20 to 30% of people actively looking, right? So that means at any one time, there's 20 to 30,000 chiropractors actively looking. And I would go as far as saying every single person almost is for sale for a better opportunity. So if you have an opportunity that potentially can help that individual realize their vision and their goals that they have for their life, that person's for sale. Believe me. All right. So makes you think about your own team too. Are you painting a big enough vision for your own team? Are you looking after them? Are you future casting, vision casting for them for what's possible? Because they too are for sale at any one given time. So hope you found this useful, guys. Fantastic podcast. Remember, there's no shortage of awesome people out there, just a shortage of focus and attention. So Lona, awesome as always. And I'll catch you in a few days.
It's good. See you down there.
Lovely. All right, guys. See you soon.
Hey, Remarkables, let me ask you, can you imagine generating more than 600 qualified new patient leads per month? How about seeing 183 new patients in 1 month? Imagine your practice generating more than $100,000 a week in collections, on track to doing over $5 million this year. Sound impossible? Well, those are the real results that TRP's own Dr. Bobby Ilyajovic is enjoying as we speak. Those are his July numbers, and August is going to be even better. Coach Bobby has been a new patient generation machine for nearly 10 years. I know because I've been coaching him since day one, but now he is going totally bionic. He has cracked the code on new patient generation, and he is ready to share it all with you guys. Do you want to get in on this? Join us for the annual Remarkable Attraction Marketing Immersion, October 10th and 11th in Phoenix, Arizona, and October 24th and 25th in Adelaide, Australia. Coach Bobby will be walking you and your team through every step of his remarkable lead machine system. Click the link in the show notes below and register your team now. But Dr. Bobby's sessions are only one of the reasons that you and your team need to be at the Remarkable Attraction Immersion. Let me ask you, have you started using AI to drive new patients into your practice yet? There's a new era in marketing that's powered by AI, and it's creating a surge of new patients for docs that know how to leverage it. Don't miss this wave. Our team of experts will show you exactly how the most successful marketers are using AI to generate record numbers of new patient leads in internal marketing, external marketing, and of course, digital marketing. Have you developed a fully leveraged marketing machine where you'll have total confidence that you'll predictably smash your goals month after month after month? Stop leaving tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table due to lackluster internal new patient referrals. Stop wasting time and spinning your wheels trying to figure out how to get butts and seats for your outside speaking events. Stop throwing good money after bad on digital marketing that's just not working. Doc, you should be seeing a 5 times to 10 times ROI on your marketing dollars. Our clients are crushing this. This weekend seminar will feature a 3-track format focusing on optimizing your internal, external, and digital lead generation. 9 breakout sessions in total, with a special emphasis on best practices leveraging AI for all of them. Bring your team. Everyone in your practice is a marketer. Let us inspire and equip them to help you fill your schedule book with more qualified new patients. Join us for the annual Remarkable Attraction Marketing Immersion, October 24th and 25th in Adelaide, Australia. Click the link in the show notes here or go to the remarkablepractice.com events page and register your team today.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Build Your Remarkable Practice podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like the podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, please click the links in the show notes to schedule a call.